Hello and welcome YouTube people. This episode is a follow-on from the last two episodes, so if you haven't seen them, I'll just briefly fill you in. I basically have a problem with my gearbox. There's a clonking noise, so I'm doing a series of videos. One was removing the rear drums and draining the gearbox oil, that kind of thing. The last video I did was engine removal, and in this video it's going to be gearbox removal, and then after that I'll probably do an inspection to see what the problem is, and also reinstallation of all that stuff that I've taken apart. Let's get on with the car. So the engine is out in the last video. It's a nice noise. So next we're going to take this out. Easy peasy. Okay, I've just lowered it down again. Like most things on these old Volkswagens, rear seat's really easy to get out. You just basically lift it like that, and then you just slide this, you lift it and slide it out. So I'll just get that out and then I'll show you what I'm trying to show. Okay, with the base of the seat removed, you see there's a cover here, and it just has one screw in it. There we go. Okay, and then you lift this off. Okay, you can see a bit better with the light. This is basically the gear selector that goes all the way to your gear stick. So if I give the gear stick a wiggle, this is what happens when you select gears. So there's a bush, like a rubber bush in here, that connects to the shaft on the end of the gearbox, and it's held in place by this screw, or bolt should I say, and then it has a piece of wire passing through it. There's a little hole in the bolt and a piece of wire to stop this coming undone, because if this comes loose, this will pop off and you lose all your gears. So I just need to take that off, slide it off. This is just a bolt with a pointy end, and it locates in that that little indentation there, and then the shaft just slides off. So here is actually the kill switch that I mentioned in the previous video. This just disconnects the battery. It's really handy, and there's the 6-volt battery, so it actually disconnects the negative terminal. And just for safety reasons, if there's any faults with the car, you can you know, if there's a fire that breaks out or something like that, you can always just disconnect the battery. And like I said, I always disconnect it after each time I use the car. You know, you don't know, these cars are so old, there could be faults that you're not aware of that could occur. So it's always a really good practice to fit one of those kill switches on your classic car. Okay, so first up, I'm going to remove these shock absorbers, 19mm and 17mm. So I'll just loosen these off. Like that. Okay, the next step is I need to remove this brake line. So this just pulls out like this. A little bit rusty. There we go. Okay, with a 17mm socket on there, spanner on there, and with my super duper pipe spanner, I'll just crack this open. Okay, I just cracked that open, and now one thing you have to watch with the brake fluid is that if you get it on your paint, it will damage your paint. It will eat into the paint. So if you spill any of this, be sure to wipe it off and clean it. Okay. Okay, I was being lazy. I couldn't be bothered to go to the other workshop and get a couple of these clamps because I only have one of them. But I did. I went over there and put a couple of these clamps on there so it shouldn't leak. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do before I forget is remove the clutch cable. I've just sprayed some WD-40 on it. I need to put some mole grips on here to stop it spinning, because you can see when I spin this it just rotates the whole thing. Okay, it's quite stiff, but it's coming apart. Okay, next up, these 3 bolts holding the axle tubes to the spring plates. And then you have the bump stop, comes off like that, just clips over. So you can see now that it's free, that this just actually slides like that. Okay, so the last clip was from Friday, and now today is Sunday. I was just passing work, and I couldn't help myself but to stop here and try and get the gearbox out, and then I can get this video posted and then on to the next stage, because I want to get this thing back together. So also I didn't go through the box of bits that I picked up from the post office, so I'll just quickly go through those. Right, so I have a gasket kit and shims for the gearbox. And I have new gaiters, good quality ones, this VW brand. And I actually forgot to order these, but luckily a friend of mine had some spares. The gaskets for the oil drain and filter. And new gearbox mount, front gearbox mount, because I don't trust that wobbly one. And these are the gaskets and seals for the end of the shafts, you know, the drive shafts. And these are actually condensers for my distributor that I want to try on my 64. This is actually really important. Good idea to always change this when you're changing your gearbox, or if you've taken your engine out. This is the bush that the starter motor slides into when it engages, and if they're worn, it can affect the starter motor because it can wander, you know, it wiggles around. So always important to change that. And then I have front and rear new seals for either whether I use this gearbox if I can fix it, or if I put the new one in. So it's always good to replace them. And this is also from my 64, just a steering coupling. I order most of my parts from Peruzzi here in Finland. Mick is great at getting the parts out super quick. I mean, I ordered these, I think it was Tuesday evening, like, I don't know, 10 at night, and he was still working, and he got them all together that evening, and I think they arrived 2 days later. And Peruzzi, I think it's a Dutch company, and they have branches all over Europe. So yeah, these guys are really good. So okay, I'm just gonna put a work t-shirt on and crack on with this gearbox. Let's do it. Okay, I can explain better by showing you. This is the bush here, and that is the end of the starter motor shaft. So you can see that gear there, this moves. When you turn the key on your ignition, this gear fires out and moves forward like this, and then engages with the flywheel, the teeth on the flywheel, and then turns the engine and starts the car. So this bush here is really important. If this is worn, when the starter motor goes to rotate, it actually bends and it can disengage the gears, or it can chew up the gears on the flywheel. So I'm going to now firstly remove this starter motor, and then I need to remove these two big bolts here, and then there's the bolts at the front that are on the front mount. So there's not actually that much left to do to get this out. That's why I thought I would just drop in and take it out. So yeah, first of all, I'll lift the car up and let's get the starter motor out. Okay, so it's pretty simple stuff. I have a 17mm spanner on this to undo this bolt. The other bolt that attaches the starter motor is the one that actually goes all the way through to hold the engine on. So that one will just slide out, and yeah, and then here you have the wiring. Hold on here you have the wiring. So again, take a photo so you know where it all goes. That just pulls off, and a 13mm on there. Easy peasy. Okay, let's get it off. Okay, so with those out the way and this nut off, it should just break free, but it looks like it probably hasn't been off for a long time, so I'm just going to go and get a rubber mallet. Okay, here we go. Let's use some force. There we go. You see that just cracked loose there, a couple of little taps. Okay, I think I'm going to need 2 hands to wiggle this bad boy off. Yeah, so there it is. It just wiggled off really easy. So that's the shaft that goes in that bush that I was telling you about. That bush there. And that's a 6-volt starter motor. I mean, at this stage I could probably convert this to 12 volt. But what you need to do with the 12 volt is you need to use a different starter motor, obviously. You need a 12 volt starter because the flywheels are different from a 6 volt and a 12 volt. They have different amount of teeth, so they're slightly different diameter. So you can put a 12 volt flywheel on a 6 volt engine, but because it's slightly bigger, it actually catches on a couple of the points on the gearbox, so you have to grind down. I think it's these 4 points. I've done it once before on my last 65, so you see that these have a little bit of meat on here, here, here and here. So you have to actually grind those down and get the clearance so the 12 volt flywheel will fit in there and not scrape. But I mean, this I quite like having this car pretty much standard. So I'm going to leave it as it is, and it seems to start alright with this 6-volt system. The lights are a bit poo, but you know, I don't really drive this that in the dark that much. Plus here in Finland in the summer, we pretty much have 24 hours of daylight anyway, so I don't really need good lights, you know, so I think I'm going to just leave it. Right, I just lifted the car up, so we'll move underneath the car. So I need to remove these two nuts. These two nuts. This one has a earthing strap on it. So those two and these two big ones, and then we can just slide the gearbox out. I'm going to use a table to put the rest of the gearbox on. So I can undo these nuts and it's not going to fall because it has the studs out. So I'm going to remove those, put it on top of a table, and then take these big buggers off. Right, so it's just 17mm socket on these. Okay, so I got the table underneath there and just lowered the car down. Still a little bit of a clearance there, I could come down a little bit more. I'm normally laying on my back doing this, lifting them in and out, so again this is a real luxury to have this lift. Makes my job so much easier. But so you can see these are really big, chunky buggers. So we both got those out. One of the washers has split in two, so I'll have to replace that. So now I can just pull this out. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to lift the car up. So here it is. I really hope there's something wrong with this. Otherwise it's all for nothing, but well, there was a problem somewhere. If I wiggle this shaft, I don't know, it's hard to say, but I mean, this is where it was leaking, look. I'm just hoping it's not the bellow seal thing, because it's actually dripped on here. But yeah, I guess the next stage is to open it up. Okay, again, I think that's enough for this video. Gearbox removal video. So I hope this helps. And in the next video, I'm going to try and diagnose what the problem is. But I have my friend Yanni, who's been in previous videos, contacted me the other day, and he said that he has a couple of gearboxes that might be of some help. But I still need to change over the drive tubes, the drive shafts and stuff like that. So that will make good content for another video. I've done it a couple of times before, changing these tubes, so I just have to figure out and remember how to do it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope it's helpful. Please like and subscribe. It's very appreciative as always. And leave me a comment. Love to hear the comments. Okay, thanks a lot. Till next time. Cheers.